What's up, everybody? Nate Gibson here with my sister Ella. Ella is going into her junior year at Skyline High School. So, yeah, we'll see how she does in my Algebra 1 class. So anyways, Ella, are you familiar with the term coordinate plane?
Yes.
Yeah, so what do you think it is? How would you describe it in your own words? What's a coordinate plane?
It's when there's for a graph, there's 4 sections and there's 2 axes.
Yeah, so good. So you're familiar with the term. So let's talk about it a little bit more because I think we can get a little bit more specific. That's a very good definition to start. So the word plane, what could plane mean? Why might that be part of what we call this thing?
The whole area of it. I don't know.
Good, area. That's a great word. Obviously, a word we use in math quite a bit. Area. Good. So plane. Yeah, it's kind of like it has a width and it has a height and it kind of covers the whole area. What about coordinate? What might coordinate mean? Or where does coordinate show up in life?
Coordinate is there's 2 parts of it, and it's to show a certain where the spot is, where the point is.
So the spot, maybe location.
Yeah,
Is how
location.
it reads. So yeah, it has something to do with location and something to do with area. Very good. So that's a very good place to start. So now that we broke that down into pieces, it's got an informal definition, and this is very similar to what you're talking about. So one way we can think of it is a way to compare the locations of different things to each other. So where 2 things are located in an area. So very good, just like you're talking about. So let's think about this a little bit. So if you're starting here at our house in Sammamish, and you're trying to get to the Pine Lake QFC, how far do you think you have to go to get there?
I don't know, a mile.
Okay, about a mile. It's about right. Probably takes about 25 minutes to walk the dog there, so we'll call it a mile. So if you just walked a mile in any direction, would you get to the Pine Lake QFC? No, right? If you walk straight east, you wouldn't get there. If you walk north, you wouldn't get there. You got to go in the right direction. And so that's why coordinate systems are so huge. That's why we need a coordinate plane. Because we need to determine not only how far things are from each other, but also the direction. That's another huge piece of this coordinate plane. So let's see. So looking at this example here, I'll do one, and then you can do one after, see if you understand what I'm trying to say. So this is our coordinate plane, and we have 2 points. We have A and B, which I realize now are flipped on the camera. So we can look at that and see, okay, A, these little marks on the x-axis, which we call this one right here, the horizontal, and the y-axis, the vertical, each mark is 1 unit. And so we look at A, we see it is 1 in the horizontal, and we see it is 2 in the vertical. So we're going to call that point 1, 2. And I think you even pointed out in your definition that each point on a coordinate plane has 2 numbers associated with it, which are 1 for the horizontal, 1 for the vertical. Mm-hmm. So if A is at 1, 2, and we see B is then at -3, 1, we can say, okay, well, A to B is, so it's 4 away in the horizontal direction, and it's 1 away in the vertical direction. And from those 2 numbers, we can then use some equations we're going to learn later in class to figure out that exact distance. All right, so you try one. So this next one, we have also points A and B. You point out how a coordinate plane breaks into 4 quarters, and they seem to be in the same one here. So what would you say our point A is there as far as a horizontal and a vertical number?
3 horizontal and 1 vertical.
Good. So we'd say 3, 1. And how about B?
2 horizontal and 4 vertical.
Perfect. So in the horizontal direction, side to side, how far apart are they?
1.
1. And then how about the vertical?
3.
Perfect. So they're 1 and 3. So again, that's going to come in handy later when we try to figure out that distance. But like we were saying, with trying to go into QFC, we not only need to know how far apart they are, but also what direction they are from each other. And so that makes sense, though, with our points in the coordinate system. We can then use that. So a formal definition, and this is basically what we've been talking about, but in kind of what we call math terms. So a coordinate system is a system which uses 1 or more numbers of coordinates, 1 or more numbers or coordinates to uniquely determine the position of a point in space. So the word uniquely is big there because each point is not only in space in a distance from other points, but it's at a unique point, which means it's represented by one specific point on our coordinate plane. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, class is dismissed. You've been a great student. You may take off. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as Ella leaves the room, so as far as vocabulary strategies, the one that's always stood out to me, or at least I should say always, this week it stood out to me, is Cornell Notes. And what I love about Cornell Notes is it's very ordered. And for me, that's huge because you get all of your terms as well as the definitions in one place. And we talked about the advantages of being able to cut them up and use them as flashcards or however you want to do it. But ultimately, you're able to see, and with math, how everything's so connected, you're able to get all your terms together and in a cohesive place. I also love at the bottom the summary section. I think a huge advantage to Cornell Notes is it gives students a chance to take the definitions, such as the formal definition we just gave for coordinate plane. They'll have that written down on their right column, but then a chance at the bottom to say in their summary, okay, this is what this means to me. This is how I interpret this. And then if a teacher is able to go around and check them off, see how students are engaging with the terms and how they relate to each other, that can be a great gauge for the teacher to use to see where students' understanding really lies. On top of that, I think what I would really try and make use of my core notes for as well is, I talked about this in class, but adding a third column maybe in the middle. And for example, just to put, if we have coordinate plane on the left column and then the formal definition on the far right, before giving the formal definition, giving students a chance to discuss with each other and come up with an informal definition. I think we really need to encourage students to use math terms, but ultimately, if math terms aren't making sense, students need to get the concepts. And for that to happen, they need to put it in their own context, in their own words, in the way that they speak. I know that's how I always learned when I was in high school. I knew the math terms, I kind of understood what they meant, but if I were to describe a problem to a friend or if I was asking for help on something, I was going to use my own words to describe what was going on. And so for a student to be able to use their own words and put that down on paper and write it in a way that makes sense to them, and then be able to connect that to the formal definition, that can lead to not only understanding of the term at hand, but an understanding of what the formal definition means, and maybe terms in the formal definition begin to make sense in the context of their definition. So again, I think Cornell Notes are a very effective method and something that I certainly plan to use both in the presentation of the lesson I just made in class on Wednesday in inquiry teaching methods, but I also hope to use in the future as I get into teaching myself. So thanks for watching. Again, thank you, Ella, for participating, and we'll see you guys this week.